right, sports fans, welcome to another edition of the DC Sports Huddle. It is sponsored by MGM National Harbor. For the latest in Washington sports, visit MGM National Harbor and experience sports fans' paradise. I am Rob Woodfork alongside Dave Preston and George Wallace. And folks, we've reached the bye week. And
then why are we here?
Yeah, why are we here? We should have taken a break. Yeah, you're 1,000% correct.
Thank you.
But since we didn't, we're here discussing it. And look, and we've had this rant before about how much it sucks that the bye is not toward the middle of the season.
Right.
It allows us then to do this sort of like a halftime show for the season. Well, we've been robbed of that.
Yeah.
So now we're in the middle of a stretch run. So I thought it would be fun before we delve into the playoff expectations for the team. I think right now you could make the case that the Washington Commanders are the best team in the DC sports landscape.
Okay.
And this was a Ben Raby baby, because he and I were talking in the newsroom the other day and just trying to rack our brains. When was the last time that was true? When was the last time Washington, the football team, was the best team in town? You've had this extended run with the Nationals. You had the even longer run with the Capitals. And it just feels like it's been a long time. Now, I have an answer, and since it's correct, I'm going to go to you guys and see when you think was the last time.
I was going to say 2012, but that was during the run of the Washington Castle's pure dominance of World Team Tennis. So I'm going to say 99, maybe 2005. In 99, they went 10-6. Were this close to advancing. I think to the NFC Championship game. They lost a tough one to Tampa Bay, a game they very well should have won. They had a 4,000-yard passer in Brad Johnson.
Yeah.
They looked like this was going to be the contending team in the NFC East because the Cowboys were getting old, and Emmitt Smith was still a player, but he was not what he was during their Super Bowl run. The Eagles had yet to really catch fire with Donovan McNabb. We really didn't know what the Giants were going to do at that point in time. The Cardinals were still in the division. That meant, hey, 2 easy wins, or at least maybe a win and a tie or a win and a loss to an old quarterback like Boomer Esiason or Dave Craig.
Still too soon.
Exactly. But I think 99. I think 99 was clear that they, even though the Caps were just a year removed from being runner-ups in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I think 99 was the last time that Washington was the football team was the best in the DC sports.
And actually,
market.
This is the thing, because I feel like fans of a certain age aren't going to know this, but that offense in 99 was second only to the greatest show on turf, Rams, that year in terms of yardage, scoring, all of that. That was a great offense under Norv Turner.
Yeah.
They were just bad defensively. So they were, I believe, off the top of my head, they were 30th, I think, in defense. Now, they played a little better down the stretch. The playoff game in Tampa Bay was a low-scoring affair, so they kind of handled business in that respect. But it was funny because they fixed the defense in 2000. They were a top 5 defense, and then the offense, fell off the map.
Jeff George.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, so that was definitely it was a division winner. It was a team that you felt like was on the cusp of doing something very good.
And I'm gonna say the difference between that. I'm going to say, there we go. I'm going to say the difference between the 99 team and the 05 team that won 10 games and the 2012 team that won 10 games as well was that both of those teams rallied late. Whereas, if I remember correctly, the 99 team was good all season. You had this feel, there were more balanced expectations. Hey, this team can get it done, as opposed to, hey, 3-6. No, they're going to win 7 straight.
Yeah, but you could also make the 05, okay, the 6 in a row we don't go. That was the 05.
Love that.
But the 12 was, I think, excitement-wise.
Yeah.
You could argue the 2012 with Griffin and that whole 7 in a row. Like, you could argue that. Just excitement around time. You thought you had a quarterback here for years.
Right.
You beat Dallas in the last game of the year to win the division.
Right.
And then he doesn't get hurt. Mike Shanahan thinks that team's going all the way.
Yeah. No, the pushback I give on that, because that was one of my answers too when Ben and I were talking about it, is
Why
that
do you keep mentioning Ben? Don't keep giving him credit.
Because
I'm
this
giving
is
him
like,
credit. I'm giving the guy his props.
And the way that, I hate to say it, the way the bye week sets up, this is almost like the second intermission
Yeah,
in,
right.
in the hockey,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we're 13 weeks
No,
in.
that's true.
You're right.
No,
You're
that's
right.
true.
Seriously.
But the pushback on 2012 is that was the beginning of the Nats. I don't want to say renaissance, but that was when their window of contention opened. You know, the Capitals were good at that point. So, you know, you can make a case for one of those two teams ahead of
2012
Washington
Nats,
since they
Made the
2012
playoffs, won
Nats
98
was
games,
the-
I think. That was Davey
the Worth,
Johnson.
That was the
that
Worth
was the Worth.
walk-off.
Yeah, the Worth walk-off. Yeah.
And the awful collapse against the Cardinals.
I mean, we don't like to mention that one.
Well,
we like to focus on the Worth walk-off.
All right.
Because, I mean, Washington has only won one playoff game in the last
true. And the
17
were
years.
good. The Caps were good in 2012 and 2013
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You had Ovi, so you
Yeah.
had other stuff, and even the Wizards, they had yet to find their form. I think they didn't make the playoffs in 12-13, but you had Wall and Beal were in place as well. So it felt like there was a little more competition.
Yeah.
You could also
for
say
attention.
the last time the Washington actually contributed to a good group of because that 2012 you
Yeah.
talk about the Caps were still
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And then the Nats first.
No, we thought
jumped
that
on
was
the
going to
scene.
be
right.
Yeah, we thought that was going to
Like,
be a
wow,
renaissance.
all four teams.
Right.
And the Castles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget the Castles. But my answer is actually 2005
Okay.
because that was the last time they won a playoff game. You had the
Gibbs.
you
Joe
had
Gibbs.
the Joe Gibbs run. We all remember Sean Taylor. You know, as he's been in the headlines recently. I mean, the contribution that he had to that team in terms of scoring on defense and making the big plays and you know, that was a tremendous run. And yes, it was another situation where they were a wild card and they kind of had to win out on the back end of the schedule after a bad start. But at that period in time, I mean, the Nationals were basically an
new.
expansion team.
Brand new, yeah.
The Capitals weren't where they are now, and so you know, and the Wizards have always just been the Wizards. They're almost
true.
irrelevant to this conversation.
And again, you had Gibbs too.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
and-
I think to your point,
Yeah.
a Washington playoff team with Joe Gibbs
Right.
is a lot sexier than
You're
a
right.
Washington
Yes.
team with Norv
Yeah,
Turner.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right. So my answer is 2005.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll go. I mean, I can.
I'm going to go 99 and just be the outlier.
Oh, yeah, maybe that was.
Because we didn't have the Castles to worry about.
No,
in
but here's the
99.
thing. All of these answers are
99
good
was a home
because it's
playoff win. They haven't done that since.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's that. There's that. And so, and I mean, FedEx Field is probably going to close without having that as
That would be
probably the
something.
only.
Can you believe that?
the
Yeah.
only playoff win that they had in that
my
building,
God, could
and
you
it came
imagine
against the Lions,
Lions.
the only team they've beaten. Anyways, now that I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last two playoff home wins were against the Lions. The championship game
Yep.
in '92,
Yep.
and then the '99.
And then the
game.
'99 game. Yeah.
Hope you're happy now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
This is what you brought to the people.
Yeah.
The wrong
I
week
swear
to-
this wasn't supposed to be this way.
But that's the beauty of the bye week.
But look, but we can turn it into a positive here. Now, all of those years that we said, 2012, that was a long time ago. 2005, 99, all of those a long time ago.
Even longer.
But Washington, look, they're not going to win the NFC East. We know that. But, you know, you get in. All you need to do is get in the tournament. And so you could get in, maybe have a run. Do we think that this is a team that can build on where they are? They're going into the bye. They had that horrible tie that makes only Dave Preston happy.
That's true.
And so now they go into the bye. They've lost control, at least for the moment, of that last wild card. Now they have to go and they've got to do some stuff now in order to get back into the playoff picture. Do we think they can do it? And do we think that they can maybe be the best team in DC once it's all said and done this year?
I think yes on both counts, and they do control their path to the playoffs, although not their
There's the
destiny.
verbiage
Because
again.
if they beat
There's
the
the
Giants
verbiage
and they
again.
went out, they would own the tiebreaker with New York. So they would own
Right.
that tiebreaker. I think they seem to be. This is a team that seems to be set up to play and win games in December. Run the ball, play good defense. It's for all the grief that we gave Jack Del Rio in the preseason about how, oh my goodness, this. You know, this defense looks like a soggy plate of nachos, and you know this team's going to allow 35 points regularly once the season gets underway. They have played beyond their skills without their best player on paper, without Chase Young in the lineup. So, and I think with their two running backs, obviously Gibson's more of a home run hitter. Robinson is the specialist of 8 and 9 yard runs, but he's the guy that you want to sustain drives. He'll get you your 5 yards on 3rd and 4 or 2 yards on 3rd and 1. This is a team that is built to win games in November in the 21st century because they also have those 3 wide receivers too. So I think they can get it done. I think they have because nobody else is really that good in the NFC right now.
Right.
And we live in a world where, because of free agency, because of guys changing teams here and there, if you're rebuilding, if you're revamping your roster, no one really has that solid of a nucleus of guys who have been around for 5-10 years like you did 10-20 years ago with so much player movement. So there's no reason to think that this team can't make a run. And let's see, what we have, 4 games left. There's no reason to think that they can't win 3 of those 4 games or maybe go 2-0-2.
Don't do the ties anymore, man.
And almost there.
We had one. You got one.
You got one.
Don't get greedy.
And I think to the other point, Rob, I think they have a very good chance at being the best team in the area for a while because the Nationals are, they're drafting second and they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
The Capitals are a team that has gotten old rather quickly, and it's going to be.
They need to be rebuilding, and they're not.
Well, it's going to be come watch Ovi play as we try to rebuild on the fly,
right.
And that nucleus. It's not just Oshie is getting older. Carl, Eller is. Lars Eller's getting older as well. So you've got a lot of the second line guys who you need a village to win in hockey. It's not just 1 or 2 superstars. You need 4 lines of 3 guys. You need 3 defensive pairings. And the guys along with Ovi are getting too old. So I don't think they're going to be good. And the Wizards, I think, are beholden to the health of their guys. I think whether Porzingis is healthy, Beal we know is going to be out for 3 games all told due to the hamstring at least. Mm-hmm. So I think right now Washington, could we be back to being a football town? I think so. I think the Commanders are coming back as fate would have it.
Especially when we finally get that ownership change.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to. I think they're in good shape here for the stretch run. Oddly, because you have the game in prime time against, and it did get shifted to prime time, the Sunday night game against the Giants. I think that's one that Washington should be favored in. I think they have the better team. They're playing the better football overall, and they're coming off a bye week at a time where they really needed it. Now, I know Ron Rivera was lamenting having the short turnaround to having to travel to San Francisco.
Coast,
but right now, San Francisco doesn't have a quarterback.
Right.
And so, all of a sudden that looks like a much more winnable game with Brock Purdy as your quarterback instead of Jimmy Garoppolo. And then, then the stretch run. I mean, look, Dallas may not be playing for anything in that last game. The Browns are the Browns. So, I mean, all these are all, as a matter of fact, I would be disappointed in them. And I don't have a vested interest, but I would be disappointed for them if they don't run the table in those 4 games. Because I think the way things set up, you should be able to. Stop trying to put Carson in this conversation.
Just saying.
As a matter of fact, look. As a matter of fact, just for this, you asked for this segue. Baker Mayfield.
But we're not done.
No. Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Would you have put in a waiver claim for Baker Mayfield?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Too much of a headache.
I think
he's a coach killer. I think he's got talent, but not above the neck.
Dang.
Yeah.
My man came with the high heat.
I don't think to bring him into this team now. I just don't know if it's worth it. Like, is he going to come in, step right in, and is he that good? Right. Probably not. So to come in with it, I mean, because Ron's got, like, these guys are together.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I would risk that right now.
They have a very delicate balance in terms of the chemistry, and I feel like I would. I'm not going to go as far as like assaulting the man's character and so forth, but I do think that it would upset the balance in terms of what you have chemistry-wise. Now, do I think he's an upgrade over what they have at quarterback? Absolutely. Would I take the chance and sign him in the offseason? Absolutely, I would, because he was a former number 1 overall pick. He's a guy who at least has the talent. And here's an underrated thing. The quarterback's coach, Zampese, was his quarterback's coach in Cleveland when he had that really good rookie season. So maybe that's a guy that, has whatever key to unlock Baker Mayfield's talent.
Because the Carson Wentz deal's done. Like, he's done after this year.
He's done.
So they're going to have to get back to the drawing board on that. Taylor's not the answer to starting quarterback.
Nope.
He's not the answer for the rest of this year either.
Hey, how's this for quality against quantity?
You guys got to understand, he's not like the luck's going to run out at some point.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Some of the interceptions have been horrible. You can't miss guys wide open.
Yep.
And I don't know how they're getting this lucky. Any couple other passes, and it's a 3. They've won 2 of these games, which is fine. They're not. I'm not saying that. I get it. You find out, but at the time when they're going to need it, I think you're going to have a 2-fumble, 2-pick game coming. It's going to be at the wrong time.
The one thing that I think that was a major upgrade with Heineke as opposed to Wentz was the amount of times that he had gotten sacked. 9 in the first 6 games. Yeah. Wentz had been sacked 23 times. 5 sacks this past Sunday against the Giants, including a sack.
Well, and that's what we saw the issues. You're right. The offensive line wasn't, with Carson. Brian Robinson wasn't. I think, how about this? Do I think he's going to make the change this week? No. But do I think that it's not that he's thinking about it, going to Carson against the Giants next time? Yes.
But you have to think about it. And this is the thing. This is why I keep likening him to, or comparing him to Tim Tebow, because it was the exact same thing in Denver during that. No, Cam Newton. This team would be tied with the Eagles for first place if they had Cam Newton. They're going to be started on this.
At what, 10-1?
You heard it here.
Maybe 10-0-2.
You heard it here.
You think this team would be 10-1 with Cam Newton at the quarterback?
I do.
Really?
I do. You know why?
No, too bad we don't have much time.
Because they're in a fantasy world? No. How's this for quality over quantity, though? As we mentioned, the game with the Giants.
I really would.
The game with the Giants in Week 15 got flexed to Sunday night.
Yeah.
Would anyone who sat down and watched the first game, Washington and the Giants, the quality of that game, think that merited to be played in prime time?
Correct.
Does the nation know what they're getting themselves into? It's the quantity of eyeballs as opposed to the quality of play.
Exactly.
But it's like, oh my, I weep for our nation that will have to watch that game to wrap up Week 15.
And FedEx Field in prime time.
That's right. Why would you put that stadium even on television full stop,
sure
let alone
NBC
in prime
folks,
time?
I'm sure they're not happy about it.
No, our friends are not happy about that. And you saw the prime example of that this past week with you buried the Bengals-Chiefs game in that 4 o'clock window instead of flexing it into prime time, where we had to watch the Colts get the doors blown off them by the Cowboys. Now, it was a competitive game until the fourth quarter, but, that's not...
Still.
Yeah, do you like the red, white, blue that the Cowboys wore? That was actually a throwback to 1976 for the bicentennial. That year they wore red, white, and blue stripes atop their helmet.
I did like the Giants.
Cool.
The throwback Giants.
Oh, I love the throwback. The Giants.
They should have never
uniforms.
changed those, if we're being honest. Yeah, they should have kept those.
I still wish the Commanders had like stripes or piping on their pants. Instead, it looks like they're wearing yoga pants.
I would actually agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I felt like
there's a lot they should be doing.
Yeah,
Uniform talk right here on the Huddle. Check us out.
Football fashionistas.
You're not going to have to get used to it long, because once the new owners come in and do a whole new rebrand.
They're just going to blow it all up, right?
Whole new rebrand.
New name?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That's my call.
You heard it here first.
Yep.
So is that a report, or is that just speculation?
You're going to have to write a new song.
Oh,
you shouldn't have written. You shouldn't have written the first one.
Commanders.
Nope, not on this. Not on this show. We're not.
You're running through.
Are we out of time already?
So no, we're about to do the hurry up here.
What's that?
Dave usually has something to say that's not song related.
Usually I do. Big game Sunday for the Maryland women. They had a huge win last week over Notre Dame on the road, and then they stumbled in Big Ten play to Nebraska. Head coach Brenda Fries has a young roster with a lot of different parts. They take on UConn, which, even though they did not win the national championship this past season, they are the standard bearer for the sport. So it's on ABC. Hope you check it out. We'll be doing live updates on WTOP throughout the day. I'll be tweeting at DAV Presto from the arena as well. Nothing like a good non-conference matchup in December, which is why I hate the fact that the Maryland men and the Maryland women have both played a pair of regular season Big Ten games, because you should wait until January 1st. Wait until your roster is set, especially with all the guys and girls transferring now. Wait until you have an idea of what team you got before you play the real games in January.
I'm going to tell you this. I love this spicy Dave Preston.
It's the holidays.
He's over here talking about coach killers. He's over here talking about what he hates. Hate. This is the player haters ball here.
Preston. So Army-Navy this weekend.
Yes,
right?
yes.
One of the most spectacular things in all of sports. If you have not been able to attend and see an Army-Navy game in person, it is something you must do in your lifetime. That is all I'm going to say. I've been fortunate to have been at 3 of them, but it is one of the most spectacular sights.
I hope to go in 2 years. Hope to go in 2 years when it comes.
You've seen it.
I have not. No, I was going to go this year. I think they either come to FedEx Field or M&T in a few years. And I hope
from
to
the
catch
march
them
on
then.
to the pageantry, the whole deal.
Right. I mean, just seeing a Navy game full stop. I mean,
no better ticket. To be honest, no better ticket from it being the tailgating is family friendly.
Yeah.
The drive on 50 is somewhat pleasant.
Yep.
Annapolis is a great town to pregame and postgame in.
Yeah.
And it's usually nice on those fall Saturdays.
The one time I was able to talk my daughter into coming with me for a football game, we went to Navy.
Okay.
And it was a good time. She got to have the concessions treats that she covets, and everybody was a winner, including Navy that day. And we are winners for you coming and hanging out with us on this DC Sports Huddle. And it is presented by our friends at MGM National Harbor. For the latest in Washington sports, visit MGM National Harbor and experience a sports fan's paradise. I am Rob Woodfork. That is Dave Preston. That is George Wallace. And we are going to collectively break the huddle.